Hello, dear friends. Here we are. Kardec Radio at 11 p.m. Yes, we're nourishing our souls as we study another chapter of the book Mediumship and Attunement with Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. Mediunidade e Sintonia. This is the title of the book in Portuguese. The book is under translation, then under revision, and we're sharing with you the chapters that are in their way to the revision. So, Mediumship and Attunement, another book by Emmanuel. Why would a superior spirit at the stature of Emmanuel write another book on mediumship and specifically titling it Mediumship and Attunement? As he says in the preface, in 1986, 33 years ago, he says that mediumship is mental force, that it's a magnet, and attunement is mutual cooperation. So, with mediumship, we are cooperating. With what? And with whom? These are major questions. So, to address these questions, we're studying the chapters of this book. Today, we're studying chapter 8. Chapter 8 is titled United Forever. What is this all about? What does Emmanuel want us to know regarding mediumship and attunement that involves unity, union? What is it? Shall we know? So, hi everybody, thank you for waiting. We thank you for joining us today, Sunshine, and Raquel Bakeshi, Jailton, hello friends, Karina Alice, how are you? Raza, how are you? Lívia Moraes, Joyce, what a joy, big hug to you, Marco and the children. Rihanna, how are you? Valéria Benfica, big hug to you. Carol Correa, yes, Daisy. Friends, let us attune ourselves, tune into the channel of Emmanuel, shall we? Because when we read a message from a spirit author of this stature, we certainly feel better, don't we? It's not by chance. It's the law of the universe, like gravity. We're now tuning into the channel of the mental field of Emmanuel and the good spirit sent by Christ to guide us on earth. It's as if we are entering the gym of the planet, of the soul, and we are working out. And the teacher today, our instructor, is Emmanuel. He talks about mediumship in a different way. Do you know people who want to make a difference? Who doesn't, right? You want to make a difference. We all want to make a difference in the sense, help others. Many people have thousands of ideas. But when you get to know Spiritism, you got it all. You want to make a difference? Share the good news. Yes, right, Luciana Nicoliello, how are you? Big hug to you. Adilson. So friends, are you ready? Yes, we are ready. Chapter 8. United Forever. It almost sounds like romantic, right? United forever. But Emmanuel is not sparing words here. What does he mean? He calls us companions. It's a different chapter, this one, because it has so much heart into this that we can almost feel the presence, right? Senhora Liz, Nora Brasil, companions, we're engaged in the spiritual construction of the new age, the new era. Pause. The message is 2 pages long, so I can't read it all. I'm going to read and talk about it. First paragraph, he says, companions, we're engaged in the spiritual construction of the new era. Question to you, to me, are you engaged? Are you into this? Are you aware? Awareness is always the first step. Are we aware that we're building the new era? My friends, it is very important that we become aware of this commitment. Many people experience anxiety, depression, several symptoms because they are not aware of their part in the common good. And then there is a void within, and then there is something missing, and then there is this longing for something that we don't know. It's the engagement in the team of the loving Christ. Then he continues, however, let us convey that the work is much broader in ourselves than in the external plane of action to be developed. Okay? So he's saying here, we're in the construction that begins within. Like peace in the world begins with me, right? When I choose love, I know I'm truly happy. When we are kind to one another, we know true love is deeply in our hearts. So, when we construct within, naturally, it comes out. Like a flower. It's there, the perfume, and it can only exhale what is within. We are like flowers. We can only give what's within ourselves. Right, Célio? Sunshine is asking, beautiful question. What does he mean by new era? Well, the new age. And he capitalizes it, Sunshine. He says, the new era of our spirituality. It's the same that is foreseen by non-spiritists. The same new age, new era. The one that Kardec explains in the Genesis in its last chapters. He talks about it, the new era, and thus he gives us a description of it, the world, the regenerative world. People can read more about this too, and thank you for leading us to this understanding, Sunshine, in the Gospel According to Spiritism, Chapter 3. Kardec explains to us the new era, the regenerative world. And he explains, goodness will prevail over evil. We're marching to that direction. And people are going to be kinder to one another. We're not going to suffer terrible diseases like we still do nowadays, right? So little by little we understand more about this new era. We're building it, and it begins within. He's right. Thought is life. I cannot change my life around if I don't change my mindset. And we're talking about a millennial mental body. A mental body that we have been carrying out for millennia. So we need a lot of effort and repetition to really make it bloom in beauty. Right, Melissa? Talking about beauty. How are you, Melissa? So, friends, Emmanuel then says, let us educate ourselves in order to educate others. Let us teach so we may learn. Isn't that true? When you have to explain something to somebody, you understand more of it. See, share more and you will know more. Exactly. So let us help so we may be helped. It's the law of the mental field. Observe how all the spirits that came through Chico Xavier, though different in style, different in their tasks and missions, they are particularly convergent to the teachings. The law of the mental field says it's a law, meaning it's a natural happening. I attract what I emit. So if I want to be helped, I need to help. Some people say, oh, but only the day this, that, and the other happen, then I will be able to help people. If people stop their lives to help us, we think we're better than others for the world to help us. That's a lot of egotism. That's a lot of pride and selfishness when we think that we deserve to be helped first, then to help. But the law says otherwise. Right, Matthew, you're right. Another name for it is law of attraction. Thank you for bringing that up. It's beautiful when we see the correlations. Different philosophies, same meaning. Law of the mental field by André Luiz, and then law of attraction by so many other authors, right? Gabriel Inácio is asking, is the new era within us, or is it kind of a season to come later? I think it comes first in us, and then naturally it's manifested in the collectivity, right? But it begins within ourselves, like the song we were singing. Peace in the world begins with me. When I choose love, I know I'm truly happy. When I am kind to one another, I know true love is deeply in my heart. Okay, pretty much that's how the song goes. Right, John De Rosa? So, Emmanuel continues, let us honor the culture of intelligence with the sculpting of the heart. Beautiful. The two wings of our evolution. I learn intellectually, but I also exercise my heart to fly steadily. Many people are flying like this, tilted. Or like this. A lot of love, a lot of understanding, but the intellect needs to be boosted, or vice versa. A lot of intellect, but we need more love. We need to fly beautifully like an eagle, right? Exactly, sunshine. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. Exactly. The work belongs to everyone. That's the beauty. We love this statement because when you enter the realm of your engagement, you're not less than those who are ahead of you. Everyone has a role. The work belongs to everyone. Each of us, however, is placed in a different task. So if somebody thinks that they are better than others, that their role is more important than others, they don't know of the true life. Jesus, the humility in person, taught us this very rule in his own modeling. He never said he was better than others. He said, I know things and God sent me to share with you, but you can do what I do and much more. Humility. And if we find anybody who by any chance think that they are ahead to the point that their role is more important than others because of positions of power, temporary power, by the way, they need to go back to elementary school in spirituality and do it all over again, because they missed the most important line of this engagement. The work belongs to everyone. Belongs. Each of us, however, is placed in a different task. I know people, believe me, who came to me once many years ago and said, you know, Vanessa, we are the ones who dictate the progress of Spiritism in the United States. I didn't dispute. I left and I said, I'm gonna pray that I don't ever think that I will be in that type of illusion, because it's an illusion. A few years later, one of the people in that group discarnated. That means that they died? No. That means that they learned that none of us, the work doesn't belong to us alone. It belongs to everyone. It belongs to everyone. And each one of us has a different task. So if you don't do yours, it's gonna miss for us. If I don't do mine, it's gonna miss for you. We all need to do our part. We need to find out what it is. And it is imperative to study in order to know ourselves. And to know ourselves, to identify what we need. So then if you ask, Vanessa, but where do I begin to work and to help? Or what is my task? He gives us the tip to study in order to know ourselves. And to know ourselves, to identify what we need. So we need to be our own scientists. How do you study yourself? We're forced to talk about Ben Franklin. Did you know that Benjamin Franklin, at 20 years of age, while sailing, had this insight about his self-improvement? He compiled a list of 13 virtues. And in those 13 virtues, he started teaching himself daily reminders about how to polish himself. He compiled the 13 virtues that are most important for him. So that's a homework for you and I tomorrow. Think about the top 3 virtues that you need to work upon more sooner than later. Observe yourself and take a look at it. And if you don't have many names or virtues, Google it, because there are several sites that outline lists of virtues. Browse around, think about you, say a prayer, and do a list of virtues for you. And work on that self-improvement program, because that is going to change our vibration. Bits of virtue that were acquired in action, they change our vibratory tone. And that's why in the Gospel according to Spiritism, it says, without charity, there's no salvation. In the sense, we don't evolve without being virtuous, practicing virtues. Rihanna is sharing with us. Chico Xavier asked why people are so eager to see him. The answers he was given was that people miss Jesus. He's an example of humility. Thank you for sharing. You're right. Exactly, Rihanna. And Sunshine reminds us, St. Augustine recommended the nightly review to get to know ourselves. Exactly. Beautiful classroom work together. We are happy, united forever. That's the lesson of tonight. We see how this unity really helps us. He says, no one has the light that has not kindled within themselves, yet none of us is deprived of resources in order to be enlightened. Oh man, if we could just stop on this one, that's supreme. He says, no one has the light that has not kindled with them, but none of us is deprived of resources to be enlightened. Everyone, we are equally loved by God. God loves you as much as He loves me, as much as He loves Jesus, as much as He loves Professor Eurípides Barçanufo, and Joana de Angelis, and Mother Teresa, and many others, and the criminals. Because God is God. And God gives us all equal opportunity. We often talk about this in businesses, right? Equal opportunity, but God is the inventor of equal opportunity. We all have the resources at hand to be enlightened. Fernando Oliveira is sharing, all spiritists must read On the Way to the Light. Exactly. Emmanuel on the book On the Way to the Light. Thank you. Thank you, Fernando. He says, let us accept ourselves for whom we are in order to serve our own reality and accept others as they are. But when we accept others, it doesn't mean we're going to live under the same roof. Jesus accepts everyone, but He allows people to be their way. Doesn't mean He's going to be there sleeping next to that person. We are often confused about what it is to accept. Accept is to allow the person to be who they are. Allow ourselves to be a blooming child of God as much as everybody else. Let us recognize that we are not in a tournament of angelic triumphs, but in a beneficial work seeking human achievements. As often we say, none of these teachings are teaching us about being angels. It's about being humans. Human acquisitions. So when people say the bar is too high, actually they're missing the boat, because pretty much we are invited to be humans. Jesus never came to the earth to invite us to be angels. He said, you can do it. What I do. In the book Living Spring, there is a chapter, Real Humanity. And it says precisely that Jesus came to exemplify what it is to be humans. We're learning to be humans. Observe inside of us how much of the animal instincts we still have inside of us. So we need awareness, consciousness, in order to shift. And shifting doesn't happen all of a sudden. My father used to say, nothing in nature goes from one stage to the next overnight. It's always gradual. He often said that to me. He said, Vanessa, take it easy, because everything in nature is gradual. It takes time. And I observe he's right. I contemplate nature and I see everything is gradual. Nothing is sudden. If we think it's sudden, it's because we don't have resources to measure the gradual steps. Watch documentaries in Discovery Channel or National Geographic, and we'll see the gradual steps of it all. So he says, let us be better today than yesterday. Let us not stop at the impossibility of offering prodigies of greatness from one moment to another, but let us not seek to interrupt the work of redemption and love to which we are committed. How many people don't do the works because they want to be angelic? But you won't be one day if you don't start now. It is in doing the good works and making an effort that we will master it. So we need to practice all the different pathways and facets of doing the good. And we cannot interrupt it. Never disregard anyone. And this is a message to the Spiritist movement, especially, because this is for the Spiritists. The role of those who really want to lead and help is to be inclusive. If you are excluding people, you're not exemplifying unity. Unity comes by you doing what Jesus did. You go after the people and put them together, right? And observe that before God, others are bearers of a determined message that also happens to us. So it's like pieces of a puzzle. If one of us is missing, the puzzle is not complete. I'm not going to go after people that don't want to participate, but many people want to participate and are not allowed. Are not allowed because people become inquisitional, they become orthodox, and they forgot about the wholehearted message of the gospel, which is to love one another. If we fall into the fascination of illusion, it is imperative that we voluntarily reestablish ourselves as quickly as possible with the values of experience. Let us know that temptation is synonym of past. So, exactly, Valeria, spirituality is inclusive. It is inclusive. And if it is not, then we are in this illusion, in positions of privilege like the past. Here and now are positions of space and time where divine providence allows us to plant and replant the future and destiny. He's talking about mindfulness. In 1986, people didn't talk about mindfulness as we do nowadays. So he's talking about it's right now that we're going to make a difference. It's not tomorrow. I know people say, one day when I retire, and I remember with my eyes the sad expression of this man who came to me and said, Vanessa, when I retire, remember, big speaker coming and saying, when I retire, I will not give of myself only to the dissemination of the Spiritist teachings. I will also do other things to enjoy my life, blah, 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 blah. When the person retired, a big health issue happened. The person was not allowed to do that. Either one. I know another case of a man who was the president of a spirit center. And he said, when I retire, Vanessa, I'm going to dedicate myself wholeheartedly to Spiritism. This person was in his 60s. Back then, I was in my 30s. And I looked and I said, why don't you do it now? Why wait? You never know tomorrow. He said, no, but I'll have more time later. He retired. The next year, he discarnated of a problem in his health, of course. No time. No time. The time is now. I dedicate myself wholeheartedly today, because tomorrow doesn't exist. It's only today. That's what Emmanuel is saying. Before any difficulty, serve. Faced with misunderstanding, serve more. And in the doing your work, light is born in the pathway. Through charity comes the essential solution to all problems. Mentor Joseph, I remember once facing difficulties here and there, and he said, Vanessa, remember the people who are suffering. Focus on them. Renew yourself, like we learned yesterday in the previous chapter. Because the ones who complicate the pathway of others, they will sooner or later change. But if you don't do your work, the people who need won't receive the help. So since then, the renewal is much easier, because problems come, and he says, remember the ones who are suffering. Remember the ones who are suffering. All the time. All the time. Because right now, as we speak, there are many people who are in need of a loving presence, a loving word. And God uses us to share this light. The light comes from God, right, Lívia Moraes? We can do much more, Lívia, God willing, but we can never stop, and you should never stop either. Whatever you're doing, renew yourself and keep on going, and never count what you've done, because what's in the past is in the past. Always forward, always focused on the next. Never count how many seeds you sowed. First, because the seeds are not ours. Second, because we don't know what's going to happen to them. God is asking us to sow and to sow and to sow and keep sowing, keep sowing, keep sowing, keep sowing. And what's going to happen, only God knows. Right, Gabriel Inácio and friends. So Emmanuel is almost at the end of his message, united always, saying, prayer and action. We pray, we take action. We believe, and we construct. Let us understand that we are invited by the Christ of God through Allan Kardec to understand by helping, to renew by loving and enlightening, instructing and blessing in the edification of the new world. So if you want to make a difference, Spiritism is the difference. Keep working in your professions, doing whatever you need to do, taking care of your family. But don't forget, Spiritism is a convocation for us to share the good news. Share the good news. We are free within ourselves in the choice of decisions and directives. We are servants of discipline in the outer field of our accomplishments, sustaining the security we owe to the harmony of our neighbor. We're dealers of the common good through obligations formed in diverse structures for each of us. We're cultivators of truth under the commitment to improve ourselves in constant service. And above all, let us always stay united. This way, we will win. So this message is a convocation. Wherever you are in the world, form your group of prayer. Today, your group of study. Today, your mediumistic works. Today, and always faithful to the foundational books. If you are concerned about those who are temporarily in positions in external organizations, you're missing the boat. As Chico Xavier used to say, I respond to Jesus and to God, to no organization. So don't wait for people to approve of you, to approve of your works, to approve of your study groups. Do the good, like St. Francis did in spite of the Vatican. Do the works that Jesus did in spite of the Pharisees in the temple. The temple crumbled up. The Pharisees discarnated. We barely know their names, but we know of Jesus. We know of St. Francis. And we know of you. Wherever you are, let us stay united in the good works, being servants of discipline. And, as he says, dealers of the common good. So, in the next 24 hours, be a dealer of the common good, shall we? We have in the world drug dealers, money dealers. Be a dealer of the common good, shall we, friends? A dealer of the common good. Care for the common good, and thus you will be in synchronicity with God. When we're aligned, everything shines. And talking about shining, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Friends, a big hug. Tomorrow we come back with a chapter titled Mediumship in Us. Okay? For now, deal, Carol. A big hug, Gabriel Inácio. Big hug to all of you, Melissa and friends. And until tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye, friends.